Tell me.
Hi, my name is Karen, and welcome to the PT Breakfast Club podcast.
Ooh, the Phillies fan. Philly Karen. Ugh. Where would you rank? All right, so we need to set the stage. I don't want to just run ahead. So there was an altercation in an outfield. Was this a home run ball or a foul ball?
Home run ball.
Yeah,
Home run ball. Bunch of people run over to it, and some guy makes his way out with it and then does sort of the right thing, right? Like gets excited, but then runs over to a kid, because that's the point. You can buy a ball anywhere, right? For a couple bucks. Matters for the kid. Hands it to a kid. And have you seen the video where they actually have the lip reader, like trying to lip read what she's yelling at the guy? That's even better. But this woman runs from off camera. I guess she was in the kerfuffle of getting the home run ball, wearing a Phillies jersey. I know it breaks your heart, Dave. You always want it to be someone else's man. There's a lot of bad fans for every team. There's bad fans for every team. And she essentially berates this, looks like a dad giving a ball to his kid, to the point where the dad is like, I'm out. Like, whatever venom you're spitting. And he just coughs up the ball and leaves it. Now, kudos to the Phillies, who obviously are paying attention to this interaction, or someone's at least smart in the media department is like, someone watch the broadcast at all times to see what's going on. The rest of the world is looking at us. And they make sure the kid gets like a bat and a this and a that. And the kid is now going to the ball is over. He's now remembering whatever this is. They probably gave him tickets to, 10 games next year, and he's got a bat, he's got pictures, and he was probably walked around the locker room. And that was our intro for today. But man, who's worse? Eagles fans hitting Santa with ice and snowballs, or Philly Karen? I don't, it's close.
That's close. We should discuss briefly the rules, or the unwritten rules of when a foul ball or a home run ball.
All right, what are they?
As far as I understand, and Tony's been to a lot of games too, but if the ball, whoever picks the ball up first, that's their ball. So this guy ran from several 10 or however many seats away, and he got it first. She was the row up, and it looked like she would have had to reach down across the seat to get it. So I don't think she ever actually had it in her hand. It doesn't seem like that. So he had it. He gives it to his son. Me as a new father, by the way, I'm looking at this, but and it's all Philly fans. It's Philly fans versus Philly fans. So it's horrible. It was actually in Florida. It was the Marlins staffers that actually resolved this, which is amazing. And I was actually, like, just a sidebar. Like, I was surprised that the dad just like gave the ball up. Like,
yeah,
you guys know me well enough. Like, I would not give that ball up. Like, I don't care who is like, if I got it rightfully, I didn't rip it out of some kid's hand. And there's been some other things in the news of the tennis player, or the guy in the crowd with the tennis, and he took a signed hat out of a kid's hand, and he took the hat or whatever. So I don't know. It's crazy that this stuff happens, but it made news, and there's so many other viral components to it that I think we can discuss and potentially use.
Well, that's the biggest thing it's how are people leveraging this? How quickly are people leveraging this? So did you guys see Marcus Lemonis?
I saw you had commented he jumped on it. So he was able to sort of like, and again, that's the reaction is like, this has nothing to do with me. How could I make this about me?
So he comes out, he offers to buy I'm guessing the kid and his dad, but he said the kid a free ticket to the World Series. He like made him these offers, all over Facebook, all over social media, everything. Like, if you guys remember the Sandlot movie, Dave, I'm sure, you're going to watch this with your son. There's images of this woman taking the ball from the kids on the Sandlot movie. I saw Willy Wonka. There's an image of this woman taking the golden ticket from the kid from Willy Wonka. So I made that clip. Play it one more time, because I don't know. I just want to see it.
I got to find the actual clip from the baseball stadium.
No, the intro to the podcast.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Karen, and welcome to the PT Breakfast Club podcast.
So the same thing. I was like, all right, how can I use this? How can I leverage this? I feel bad for the woman. But aside from that, I'm still going to look for a way to leverage this to get a smile, to get a laugh, to get a reaction from anybody who's going to watch.
Did you generate this with AI? Obviously.
Yeah. So this is Google VO.
Did you notice what she did in the
What?
AI generated? She goes to steal the microphone.
Hi, my name is Karen, and welcome to the PT Breakfast Club podcast.
I love
She goes
that.
and
I
steals the
didn't notice.
microphone. She's like, yeah, this is mine now.
She's
This
taking
is mine.
everything.
So I tried different prompts to make that video, and none of the prompts that made her more aggressive or more angry or more taking things, it wouldn't let me use any of those prompts. So I had to like maneuver around to make her smile and to make it more cheerful in order to get VO to let me do that. But this goes back to, we can't help anyone if people don't know we exist. And how do we get people to know we exist is we capitalize on these little opportunities to do things that get a smile, get a laugh, get an emotional response. Marcus Lemonis understood that. Like, there's so many people that are jumping on this opportunity, just like the Coldplay, Savannah Bananas. They mocked the Coldplay incident. They mocked this incident.
Yeah.
Yeah. My point in sharing that today was just to say, look, how can we jump on some of these trends to make ourselves relevant in, a noisy environment?
Yeah, this is all we did in radio. If there was a clip or a soundbite, if someone said something stupid, we banged that thing like a drum for 24 hours, knowing that in 48 hours, we're never mentioned. Well, we'd mention it again at the year in review, right? Put that in the file. We'll talk about that in December.
Dave, you were going to say something?
I love the idea of using any of this in some type of a goodwill or a positive way to have even us, right? Like any of us, like physical therapy practice, physical therapists in general, how to use it to reach more people, get out of obscurity. If our practices, if our companies are not known, if we're not known by enough people, like these types of things could actually be used to get out of obscurity. Like Tony, you've had, certain videos hit hundreds of thousands, millions of views just from, individual videos, which is incredible. My question to both of you would be, how can other practice owners do this type of stuff that Marcus Lemonis pitched and put out there into the ether without making sure that there's no downside? Like, Lemonis puts this out, he's got a big following, and I'm sure there's got to be some people that are like, oh, you're just doing this because of the attention or whatever. Like, how is it possible? How can any of us try to do what he's done without any, and maybe there's always going to be some, naysayers or something.
Right.
What do you guys think?
Yeah. Keep talking smack. You're making me famous. Like he's the middleman, right? He's got the guy and the kid and the tickets. And he's like, I'm giving him tickets. You're just doing that to whatever, think whatever you want. Right. Like, so I think it needs to be intentional. If you're like, this is going to be something we do, I don't think you just run out. I think you sit and wait, but then you're like, we said we are going to react to something that we want to interject on, right? And then you do it. And then that's it. Like, you do it, you talk about it as much as you can, or you share it as much as you can, or but then you move it on. Like, that's the goal, was to insert himself into the conversation, and he did. Success.
Yeah, you have to have, the audience that's against what you're doing.
Sure.
In order for the audience who's in favor of what you're doing. My post, your post, we all, you want to attract the group that's passionate about the things you're passionate about. You want to repel the other group, but in repelling the other group, that's what pushes that message forward even more. It taken to the nth degree. I mean, we see it in politics. We see it in so many other things. It absolutely can turn negative, but we got to find that sweet spot, that balance. And I try to do that. I try to manage, how inflammatory I'm going to be to put fuel on the fire to get the message out there, but not so much that it incinerates the whole environment. So
who's the happiest person in this situation with Philly Karen? Is it the kid and his dad, or is it someone else who now doesn't have the world's attention on him? Like, who is it? The guy from the Coldplay concert is what I'm asking. Now everybody's moved on. Like, everybody thought, like, that lingered for a little bit though, didn't it?
It did.
It did.
So
It lingered
that
more
guy
than this
going,
will.
Yeah.
finally somebody did something stupid to move the conversation away. And that's the thing. She's going to have to stew in this until someone does something stupid. The good news is, we're about 11 minutes away from someone else doing something stupid. Don't worry, it'll happen.
Now, what should be interesting here on a personal note, and same for Dave, like we talk to our kids all the time about, look, anything you do, you have to expect it to be on camera. Like there was a story about kids, a little boy who ding dong ditched, pushed the doorbell, ran away, and got shot in the back. There was an interesting situation this weekend. I don't think I told you guys about this. We're at a baseball game. It's my kids. They're in 9th grade. It's a fall ball rec league. There's an umpire. It's a scrimmage. So let's say we're in the 3rd, 4th inning. All the boys are playing. It's at a big park. There's pickleball courts. Well, a woman starts running down the parking lot screaming, and we're like, what's going on? You know, it's bizarre for this like very clean suburban neighborhood. She says, stop that guy. He just punched my husband. And, you know, we're still trying to kind of figure out what's going on. The umpire from our game takes off into a dead sprint. I don't even like, before I realized what was going on, he's running. He catches up with the guy still in all of his umpire gear. And, you know, we didn't hear exactly what happened. He came back. He was like, I just told the guy to stop and sit down, and he did it. The police show up, the ambulance comes, you know, there's all this stuff. And I'm like, back to Dave's point a little bit about the dad from the Phillies game just giving up the ball and not, you know, putting up any kind of argument. This umpire taking off to stop this attacker. I mean, it's basically a weird attack. They weren't fighting. The wife said this guy just randomly came up, punched her husband, knocked him out. And I'm like, these stories obviously can go many different ways. There was an attack in Cincinnati that happened not too long ago that got politicized. My point in all this is me as a parent of young kids, I'm trying to teach my kids, 1, you got to do the right thing. 2, you got to understand that everything is going to be filmed. Everything is going to be recorded. I am sure when that umpire took off running, somewhere there were cameras rolling that would see what he was doing. And the fact that he handled himself, 1, like a hero. He didn't attack the attacker. He didn't like tackle him or do anything. He just stopped him, kept him there, let the police show up. These are all such factors that we're in such a different world. Jimmy and Dave, when we grew up, like we could do stupid stuff and nobody would ever know about it. Now everything is on camera.
Yeah. All of it, everything, 24/7. And you can, I mean, like you can, I mean, I'm making an assumption here, but you saw it bleed into how fast that dad was just like, I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I'm in the wrong. Like he probably was just like, I want this to be over. Like this, whatever this is attention. And I'm holding the home run ball. I know I'm on camera. I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, I don't know.
Very odd.
All right. What do we got?
I don't know. Do you want to? It's morning, and I have had my fair share of hotcakes, but I don't know if I would do well with a McDonald's buffet and all you. Is that what we were talking about? You guys were flying some stuff around. So the post might be a little hard to read. I can read it for you if you can't off the screen. But McDonald's debut, is this real? Branson, Missouri makes me feel like it's real. No hate towards Missouri, but Missouri.
This is not an endorsement or sponsorship. Go ahead.
This is not an endorsement. Branson has become the test site for one of McDonald's most unusual new experiments, an all-you-can-eat buffet. For just $12.99, you can now help yourselves to unlimited Big Macs, quarter pounders, chicken nugs, fries, apple pies. Just a McDonald's buffet. The move already stirring controversy. Supporters are calling it the best deal in Branson. I don't know how much is going on in Branson, while critics are blasting it as the health disaster waiting to happen. But again, if you've listened to this show before, McDonald's makes suggestions. Human beings make decisions with their wallet and their health. So is it really that bad? So where do we go? Like business, society, health, where do you want to go? McDonald's, like, can they, if somebody runs in and crushes like 6 Big Macs, can they stay profitable at $13?
Well, that's the thing. So you guys know we've offered deals like this: unlimited physical therapy, all you can handle, for $100 a month. Now I have to be careful about how I talk about this, because there have been several people who said you can't do that. You're pretending to be an insurance company. There's legal and lawyers and compliance and all this stuff. Bottom line is, yes, they're going to lose money on some people. They're going to make money on other people. How many Big Macs can you really handle, any reasonable person? There was a clip, I tried to get it to send it to you, of Homer Simpson going to an all-you-can-eat buffet, and the owner of the restaurant saying, this is all you can eat, meaning you can't eat anymore. But my point in this is, okay, we know McDonald's is like a real estate company. It's not a restaurant. They make their money on real estate. They're a logistics company. They have so many other ways to make money. Their stock, if you, Jimmy, have a second and want to pull up their stock chart, it just goes up and up and up and up, and I've come full circle as an adult. I loved McDonald's as a kid. I hated it as a young, healthy individual. I've come full circle back to my guilty treat once a month or twice a month is to run through and grab a breakfast at McDonald's. I love it. Point being, there are different pricing models that can work. How far back can you go? Go to Max.
There's 5 years.
There you go. Like, look at that chart.
Look at that. Oh, and that's over. When did they go public, Tony? What, like, approximately? How
it goes
far
back to 80.
It's over 20 years. I mean, I don't even know.
85. I understand.
But you look at their profitability, you look at their net profit margin, like, it is a ridiculously successful company. And so, to Dave's point earlier, they have their haters. They have people that think that it's a, whatever on society. Bottom line is, it's about choice. It's about letting people make their own decisions. I run, multiple 5-mile days a week. I'm going to go get a freaking McDonald's Egg McMuffin if I want.
You got to burn off that McDonald's.
Look, I mean, if you really wanted to do the research, it's all you can eat. Like yesterday at 9 a.m., it just went up really, and they crushed. They really start to die down around dinner time. But then it came back for the late night menu, right?
The stock price, I love it.
So I shared that with you guys because I wanted to talk about, again, creative pricing models. Dave's got his model. I've got my model. Like, there's so many different ways that we can price the outcome, the service, the experience, the expectation, whatever it is that we choose to sell.
Now, I only have so many claims to fame, maybe one. This might be it. I actually, and so McDonald's doing this test market in Branson, fast food chains, big companies will do this. They'll test it in several markets. I actually got an item on the Wendy's test market. It went national, but it flubbed about 3 months in. So I actually created something for Wendy's. It was called the Frosty Chino. Do either of you ever hear the Frosty Chino? We used to do a live broadcast from the roof of a Wendy's for charity when I ran a radio station, and I don't drink hot coffee. But the guy who ran the Wendy's wanted to give me something every morning. So I said, I love me some ice cream. I'll eat ice cream 4 in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, didn't matter. He mixed ice cream, Frosty, and a little hot coffee, and it cooled it off for me. I loved it. We joked around, offered it at that Wendy's for the charity thing. The owner had like 15 locations, put it on his menu. It went national. I had something on commercials. Now it flubbed. And do you know how many nickels I got from that? That's right. I got no nickels. But moving on.
Bad business move, Jimmy.
Bad business move, Jimmy. But it's pricing models. So there's only here's the fun part. Like, you might look at this and be like, where does my head go as an owner? There's only so many different levers you can pull, but you can pull them in different ways. You might be saying a buffet, I can't have that. But Tony just displayed all you can do for a period is in fact an all you can eat buffet in PT. And if you're saying, well, that's not how we do it, good. Your competition's not going to do that, or they are, and you should too. So what are the different pricing models? We've seen time-based, right? Tony, you've flirted with this idea. We've talked about this, where if something is more desirable, charging more for it might seem egregious. But if it's more desirable, I told you when I was in pediatrics, the 3:30, 4 o'clock slot at a pediatric clinic, that was worth 10x. People would keep that with one kid, knowing their next kid was going to need it, and they would squat on that, and they would happily pay the copay no matter what, because they couldn't give up that spot. It would jack their whole day or whole week up. What are some other things that this McDonald's $12.99? I mean, what's a value meal cost? That's one value meal. Right?
So this is exactly it. We can make the parallel to physical therapy pricing that Tony sent to us in the DMs. But my question for Tony would be, so you go, you get a breakfast meal, you get a breakfast, whatever, in the morning. Now, of course, in general, you're not going to buy the all you can eat. You're not going to do the all you can eat for breakfast. Like most people don't eat like a gigantic breakfast. But I'm assuming
Cracker Barrel. What are you talking about? Cracker Barrel has entered the chat.
Cracker Barrel, they have like big, heavy breakfasts. I don't know.
That's what they're known for. Yeah, people love crushing farmers, farmer breakfasts and stuff like that. They
Okay,
love it.
so here's the question. Here's the one-on-one with Tony. So Tony, when you go once or twice a month, approximately how much do you spend at McDonald's? How many dollars approximately?
$8.
You spend $8.
So $8 is the Egg McMuffin, bacon and cheese, large coffee, and the hash brown.
Got to get the hash brown.
There you go. Okay, so the reason why I'm asking is because I assumed that it was under $12.99. So the fact that they're testing this all you can eat at a $12.99 price point, and of course Tony's right, like some people are going to take advantage of it and abuse it, and they'll lose money on those, but there's going to be more people, the majority, where they come in and they're typically spending $7, $5, $7, $8, whatever dollars, and now they're paying McDonald's more. They're paying $12.99 for the people that are actually going to do the test all you can eat. And so it's probably, I'm sure they did projections. Obviously they did projections with spreadsheets and everything. Like they're looking at like how many people come in general, and what's the average ticket, what's the average dollar amount that they're paying.
Right. I was going to say, so price variation, Manhattan is saying a Big Mac meal, Big Mac fries, drink, $11.59. So you're saying they're making money for those three items at $11.59 by paying a couple bucks more. Again, in Branson, it's probably even cheaper. They're saying, how much more can you possibly eat? Like, how much more could you possibly consume? Now, there are some dudes out there. We're going to see a video of some dude coming in there and absolutely obliterating this thing. And he's right now in Branson saying, hold my beer. I'm going to put you out of business. But for every one of those dudes, there's 100 people who are going to come in there, pay $13 and take $7 worth of value.
Exactly. They're going to undereat that dollar amount. Yes.
So taking that back into the PT world, we sell unlimited access. It's come as much as you want. Here's the thing. I've got one, maybe two people right now, let's say out of 20 that come every day, 5 days a week. Most of the people come twice a week. Some of the people come once and never come back. So the money that I make on the unlimited access for $100 a month, the money I lose on the person who comes 5 days a week, I make on the person who comes once a week. I dollar cost average with the people who come twice a week. And so the pushback I get from clinicians is, well, what are you doing for that? I'm doing whatever they need. If they came in and they needed something, the majority of them need exercise. Well, what if they stay for an hour? Raise the intensity. You want to work out? You want to get strong? I'm here to make you strong. Let's go. No rest breaks.
They won't stay as long.
Yeah, they're begging to get out. They're begging to leave, but they love it, right? And then you're like, well, what about manual therapy? Well, most of them don't need manual therapy. But what about some who do? Okay, so if I have the time, I do it. It's not a guarantee. You're buying access to the clinic, to the program, to the team. And truthfully, like we have to have some common sense about this. I've got patients who do want me to work on them. If you want dedicated, absolutely, I'm going to rub your back. This is the price for that. If you want to get lucky on a Tuesday when we're slow.
Whoa, what are you selling? What are you selling? What are we talking about? What different business model? Who's getting lucky on a Tuesday? What?
and I'm slow enough to do it, I'll rub your shoulder. You know, I don't really care.
But
To
now,
me,
again, you're selling access.
Yes.
Like you said, if there's a slot and you're here, some people would look at that and say, hold on a second. If someone comes in 10 times at $150, that's $1,500. Did I do that math right? Yeah. Sometimes when we're live, I can't do math. But you're selling it for $250 at all access. You're losing so much money. But not everybody's going to come 10 times at $150. So what you're doing is, I mean, what's the worst thing for a restaurant or a bar or a PT clinic? A dead empty bar or restaurant or PT clinic. Do you think Norm and Cliff and Woody would want to hang out where everybody knows your name and it's dead empty? There were all those non-player characters in the background, right? It gave it vibe. So there is that thing that says like, man, this place must suck because no one's there. No, we're elite. Everybody here is paying every second. They are, but how you're charging it is a little bit different, and what it feels like, in my opinion, is a lot different.
And that was a lesson we understood 25 years ago when we started. I was there by myself, looking out the window, begging people to come in. It was worth it for me just to let people come in for free because I just needed life in the clinic. I needed vitality. I needed some atmosphere. And then those people, of course, had associates, had friends, had other people that they could tell. A lot of times we have patients that aren't paying. They think insurance is paying. Insurance isn't paying. But it doesn't matter because I want that personality. I'm curating the environment. That means I have the right equipment. I have the right lighting. I have the right music. And I have the right people to attract other like-minded people.
So do we take the Sarah McLachlan method of for every $12 you spend, we save a puppy? And do we switch that to pro bono physical therapy? We can bridge a couple different topics here, which is you can't do this because some people couldn't afford it, because now you're essentially selling cash-based physical therapy, and now poor people can't afford it. But we had a post here. I think this is it. Someone had said, Charles Lockwood was saying, a lot of people think that only rich people can afford cash physical therapy. Okay, depends on it's all cash, first of all. It's all money. You either paid it out of your paycheck and insurance, and now it's coming out some different way. But sometimes this guy says, is Charles a PT? I don't know where you grabbed this from.
He is. He's a PT in
Great.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Great. Sometimes his clients are well off, but he says, I've also had a woman, low income, senior housing apartment, pay her cash for therapy. Probably the last person you would think. This person, I'm making an assumption, values how she moves. Again, more assumptions here. I have to because it's a podcast. She might work with her body to make a living. So she's like, if I can't do that, I can't make a living. So paying right now, however I have, maybe I don't have insurance, it doesn't cover it, whatever. This is worth it. To the people who say you can't do that because so-and-so can't afford it, you are making a gigantic assumption of your value in their circumstance. So my bridging of the Sarah McLachlan, I'm talking about in the arms of an angel. It's so smart, but could you run a model? It's a little early for 9 a.m. But could you run a model where, like, why wouldn't this be better for people? Wouldn't this improve access by going to cash? And I'm sure there's some legality, as you hinted to there, Tony. And if they have insurance, do you have to charge it? And that makes my head hurt. I hate when things happen like that. But this feels like above and beyond. More people are winning. Actually, insurance company losing the most, but the clinic and the patient or the client working out the most.
Dave?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. We've talked about this before about some monthly subscription model, and if you can make it work, and first of all, like you said, Jimmy, if you can have more access, like the community, your residents locally can have more access to you, and maybe if you have an insurance or a type of payer that a lot of clinics don't take or whatever, then all the better. And then, you could certainly do content around it. You can do content around that. That could be a newspaper article. That could be a news piece. You could have the news come down and how you're expanding access. I know other folks online, I forget, it was like Rafi Salazar or Dan Vatney, like those types of folks that are kind of talking about access to physical therapy and demonstrating our value and all that. Like, this could be a way for sure for a lot of practices.
So I think what's interesting here now just like McDonald's got some free public attention for the all-you-can-eat buffet, and somebody wrote that article and shared that post. Just like Marcus Lemonis jumped on the Phillies fan and offered this kid a free trip to the World Series. Like, doing these things in the environment we live in, where media is everywhere, it gets us in the public eye. So now if I came out and I said, hey, it's a 6-week wait to go to physical therapy at the hospital. Dave coined the phrase bridge visits. But even beyond that, like, this is something that we could go to the press with. We can put out on our social media. We want to do something, give back to the community. We are letting people, come in, high copay, high deductible plans, all of these things. The biggest challenge we're dealing with, and I don't hear enough people talking about it, is this dichotomy between individuals with Medicaid. Now, I am a Medicaid provider. I accept all local Medicaid plans. I think I'm the only provider who accepts all Medicaid plans. I can do that because I have other ways to make money, although I lose money on every Medicaid referral.
Really?
But that being said, as a consumer of healthcare services, when I want to go get healthcare services, I am paying for my services and I am paying a premium for the individuals who have Medicaid, because the hospital, the private practices, nobody can afford to treat individuals on Medicaid reimbursement. So I already know, hey, I'm paying extra, I'm paying more, it's harder for me to schedule, all of these complications that I'm facing because of the current environment we work in. But these are opportunities for us to build a solution to that. Okay, how can I help? How can I make the wait list from 6 weeks to 6 hours? Yeah. Well, I can reduce the barriers, make it easier for people to come in. Cash pay doesn't have to be expensive. Cash pay can be less expensive. It can be $100 a month. It can be $15 a session. You just have to do a model that is profitable in that world.
So totally spitballing here, because I've been in this profession the least amount of time out of us three, and in a marginal way. Wouldn't it be a devious marketing campaign to put a billboard outside a hospital with a digital readout that said the average wait time is, and then just change the digital number to 6 weeks? The problem in my mind is, if you said the average wait time at whatever hospital that's near Tony, right, put the billboard right across the street, is 6 weeks, Tony's clinic available now. The problem is, how do you message that, right?
Right.
It's not an emergency room time. You could do that with dueling hospitals. You could say, because I need it now. It's also so generic by saying physical therapy. Where's the tension? If you're bleeding, you need it now, right? So it's a good idea and it's right, but how do you mass communicate that message to the person who needs to hear it there? How do you get into the CRM of the hospital to email all those people who are 4 weeks away and want it? That you could get the exact same thing at Tony's place right now. It's hitting those people with the message they need at the time they most need it. By the way, we can get the same thing for less, faster over here, right? The buffet for less, faster right here, 24 hours a day. I don't know. Like, does PT have that problem? Because like Will is saying, back pain relief now, it's like, what percentage of back pain is so debilitating you'd cut off a finger to go get it relieved right now? 2%? I don't know.
Dave, were you going to say something?
So if you can make it inexpensive, that's awesome. And if you can make it like Tony and absorb some of those costs and make it self-pay, and it's whatever someone's copay is, like if that was just their charge and that's all the physical therapy practices accepting, like they're going to take whatever, $30 or $100 or whatever it is, and they're not going to build the insurance because maybe they're self-pay, they're 100% cash based, like some of the folks that watch this show. Yes, it can result in more access, and that's wonderful, and potentially more folks that would not get off their couch and would not go to physical therapy wouldn't do it if it weren't for that type of an offer. So that's the positive side of things. The other side of things is I just read, and shout out to Joey Albritton because he just sent me Alex Hormozi's new book, the $100 million Money Models, and I listened to the audiobook on my travels in Georgia last week, and then I got the book as soon as we got home. So now I'm going to read it and listen to the audiobook while reading it. But listening to the audiobook of $100 million Money Models, Alex Hormozi said this thing before, and you guys have probably heard it, but there was different studies and different folks that tested blind taste tests of wine. And they would say, all right, for this group of people, we have these people that are going to test this wine. And there's 3 wines. And, it's like this one's $15. This one's the first one is a $15 bottle of wine. The second one is like a $50 bottle of wine. And this is like a $100 bottle of wine. And so all the participants knew the price of the wine. And every single person rated the how good the wine was, their own perception of this one tastes like this one tastes like this, and this one. So they ranked the wines in order, like in terms of the best tasting wine, they ranked it the most expensive wine. You know what I mean? Like, so they gave their ranking. They're like, this one's the best, this $100 bottle of wine, this tastes the best because of these reasons or whatever. And then the $50 bottle of wine, the one in the middle, that was like kind of like the second best. And then the worst tasting wine was like the $15 bottle of wine. And then what they did to the participants is they served the participants the exact same wine in blank bottles. So they told the participants it was 3 different prices of 3 different wines, but it was the exact same wine. But they ranked the best with the high, they associated with the highest dollar amount. And so that's the crazy, yes. And this is exactly it. We talked about this before with Payless, and they made the viral joke of Palessi, and a play on words on Payless, and they invited social media influencers to the store, and they made the shoe prices, whatever, it was hundreds of dollars, and it was the exact same shoes in a Payless. And the social media influencers were like, oh, I got invited here, and I spent $400 on these shoes, but the day before they were $60 pair of shoes. And so that is, I don't know, Tony, that is the conundrum, right? That's the stark, shocking difference between charging something out of pocket that's $30 or $100 a month or whatever versus the way we charge. And yes, I know we're not for everyone, but it's shocking that people do, based off of that wine study, people do associate value with the price of whatever the service or good is.
Yeah, I agree 1,000,000%. Seth Godin has talked about that study forever. Like it's well researched. If I wanted better outcomes, I would simply charge more. 0 doubt in my mind. I think the conversation is worth both ends of the spectrum. And I've said it before and I'll say it again. Like, I tend to live in the world of people who don't really want what I'm providing. They're doing it because their doctor told them to do it, not because they want it. They don't really have the expectation that they're going to get significantly better. And I don't have the expectation, because what the problem is takes major lifestyle change. Change your diet, change your sleep, change your occupation, change everything. No, the people coming in these doors don't necessarily want to make those changes. Some do. And the ones who do are still here 10 and 15 years later. But the majority do not. So what I'm saying is, look, I want to serve the other end of the market. I'm okay selling, we'll say, low quality, low cost stuff to people who just need to satisfy the need. When I buy a pair of shoes, I buy a $20 pair of shoes. I can afford a $200 pair. I don't need it. Like, I'm fine with $20 pair of shoes because it's going to keep my feet protected from stepping on a pebble. That's the market that I want to serve. But this is because I also don't want to be the one in the clinic every single day, although I am. I wasn't for a long time. I don't want to be the one delivering the service every single day. I don't want to, I don't want to tie my identity to how well I make people feel. I don't want people coming in and telling me, Tony, you're amazing. You fixed me. You did these things to me. That's not what I want. All I want is a simple solution to a simple problem that makes a little bit of profit, because I've got other things that I want to do. you know, and so let me live in that world and serve that market, and let guys like you live in your world and serve your market, because we need those people. We need more of those people.
Understanding what game you're in, what you're actually selling. Successful companies understand that very, very, very well.
And this is something that Tony has mentioned a lot over the years, which is there's so many practices and providers that are trying to be halfway between what you and I do, Tony, right? And I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
where
the killer.
that's where they're in trouble, right?
And so even like the other day, I put up a LinkedIn post, and I share these posts to help myself understand the ideas a little bit better. And I said, look, why are we still fighting to take something we don't even want? Let the hospitals take over all outpatient therapy that goes through insurance. Like, they have the resources, they have the compliance departments, they have the legal departments, they have better contracts. Dave has shown us hospitals have better negotiated contracts than small independent providers. Let them take over all of that stuff. Why are we fighting? Even, and this is my estimate, and I want to hear what you guys think. I think a huge win by APTA or any of the organizations, a huge, massive, unbelievable win would be for, you know, them to sue Medicare and Medicare to raise reimbursement by 10%. But in reality, 10% is not going to move the needle for a smaller independent provider who's doing $1 million or less a year in revenue. It's just not. It's just going to be absorbed in administrative costs. And especially if a 10% raise comes with increased compliance, increased regulations, it doesn't matter for us. You could move out of the third-party payer system, move out of my world into Dave's world. You could double your prices tomorrow. You go from $100 an hour to $200, $300 an hour, no matter where you live. That's a sizable impact. That's a meaningful impact. And so I said, we're fighting a battle for a prize that's not going to be worth getting, when really, like, and it's down the road. It's years from now, if ever. I have never seen it in 25 years. But I'm like, look, tomorrow, literally tomorrow, to Jimmy's point, if I understand the messaging, and I've got a video that's resonating, we can talk about it. If I understand how to get my message in front of the right people, they will come in and pay the price. They will come in and pay $200, $250. They will come in and you know, completely change my business. It's not that I need to learn more clinical stuff. It's not that I need to do anything different. It's that I just understand, I need to understand the marketing and how to get the right message in front of the right person.
So really quick about the my experience with some of this, and what you're saying about hospitals doing all the outpatient insurance-based therapy. I would love that, because then the waiting list at hospital PT clinics would be even longer, which would not be good for folks to wait longer to get in there. And then more of the folks, if that happened, would be calling around, searching, looking at Google reviews, calling around, looking at different websites. And then those physical therapy practices like mine and others out there, it would be an easier sell to be like, yeah, we're out of pocket because, you know, we could see you tomorrow, versus the hospital that's going to be 6 to 8 weeks of a waiting list. So I love that. And a quick example of someone paying out of pocket versus insurance is, we have a patient that paid $350 for 2 visits. Then the patient had a total hip replacement, which is actually funny because we haven't had one in a while because they're hardly ever referred to physical therapy. The patient goes back to the surgeon last week, Friday or whatever, for a follow-up. And I thought, because the patient was like, oh, I want to see what the surgeon says. And I'm like, you know, but you said you want to get back to yoga and Pilates. And you said that you don't do your home exercise program. You know you're not compliant. So if you do this on your own, wouldn't that be like the slower lane? And like, we would try to help you with the, you know, be the fast lane to get back to the things you want to do, because we always reiterate the things that they want to get out of this. And then, so he goes back, the physician says, I suggest that you do physical therapy at Lenox Hill. So outpatient hospital-based physical therapy. And the patient is continuing with us under his own volition, and then paid $1,800 for a 6-visit package. So, you know, you get a little bit of a discount there. And my therapist, Porus, is saying, that he could have gone and used his insurance that covers most or part of the session versus paying us out of pocket. And that's just the difference. Now, of course, it's not everyone, but if you don't lay it out there, if you don't have that as an opportunity, like you can't ever grow into that.
You're-
You can't ever
You're
offer
fighting
it.
against the system. And what Tony is saying is like, just don't like let them have that. Give it up. Like you're fighting for real estate that even if the cost of you earning it is never going to be what the real estate is worth. It's just the juice is never going to be worth the squeeze. So why are you fighting this? But it's but it's embedded in people's identity, right? They would never cough that up. So we'll continue to do this. I mean, it's a brilliant move. If you had to design a system right now where you put a coupon in people's minds in their pocket for something they already paid for, right? And then you told them this is how you use the coupons to get this therapy that you need, this medical care that you need. It's the same as casinos. They turn your money, your cash, into chips, but then they decide how much the chips are worth. So you're like, but this is all paid for. It's like, no, you paid for health insurance, not health care. Those two things are different, right? Go to an arcade and turn $25 into a card and give it to an 11-year-old and try to explain to them that this game costs more than that game and that one is more fun. They understand that, right? But then they're confused why their credits are gone faster than other people's. So they only get one swipe while their brother got that sucks. And you can explain it there, but it's the same with adults and healthcare and health insurance. It's a game. But
I miss quarters on the screen to mark your place at the arcade.
I'm next. I was at an arcade. I was at a bowling alley, and it was one where you put money in, and now it's a card. It simplifies. No, it gamifies, right?
Yeah.
And this, you know what a Squishmallow is? Do you guys familiar with Squishmallows? Perfect. Kid loves Squishmallows, right? So he spent, I don't know how much, because I can't do the mathematical equation that fast of $25 into how many credits and how many times he swiped to get one Squishmallow. And I'm like, we paid for like 7 Squishmallows and he got one, but he didn't get one. He earned one. And that's a little bit different because you could go to a Dick's Sporting Goods and buy a baseball, but in right field, when Harrison Bader hits that ball over the fence in front of everybody, that's that ball from that day at that at bat. And that's why it's special. So it's just shifting value into different forms, and whatever I don't care about a home run ball, but someone else would pay millions of dollars for the right ball with the right player on the right day. It's harder to do that with what this profession does. It's infinitely harder.
So I don't know if Will Boyd's still around, but if he is, I'm sure his ears were burning when Jimmy was like, yeah, if we just had this way to get the right message in front of the right person we do. Like, hello, it's social media. It's YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Like, so quick story. I started working on new ad copy. And when I say ad, I'm not talking paid ads. I'm talking all organic. I know Will is a big fan of paid, obviously, but I was like, there has to be ways to get these messages to resonate. One of my best performing posts right now, it's a product post. So I'm making a product, promotional product post for a lift chair, a floor lift chair. I've been promoting these chairs since before they were used to get people off the floor. Like, these were originally bathtub lift chairs. I think I'm one of the first people that ever like put it on the ground and use it to help somebody get off the ground. But anyway, I went to ChatGPT. I said, look, here's a big frustration. Aging parents, they're ending up on the ground. It's not an emergency fall. They're trying to get off the toilet. Their legs fell asleep because they sat on the toilet too long. They went to stand up and they slid down to the ground. Or they're trying to get off a soft couch and they couldn't get up and their legs buckle and they ended up on the ground. And I gave ChatGPT the whole scenario. You know, I said, it's a person, mom or dad, who doesn't want to call the paramedics because they don't want firefighters, ambulance, fire trucks in front of their house at 3 a.m. They don't want all their neighbors talking about it. They don't want to call their adult children because they know their children have family and kids and jobs and they don't want to wake them up. So they spend the night on the ground, or it's the third time this week it's happened and they're embarrassed. They spend the night on the ground. So I said, let's create a long form sales copy letter using Alex Hermosi was one. And then Gary Halbert as another copywriter. I said, use these ideas, these methodologies, write a script for me, and I'm going to read and narrate the script. So I did it. It wrote everything out. I tweaked a couple of things. Then I took one of my videos from one of my people in the clinic showing her using the chair, and I narrated the script. Now, a typical product video like that with an affiliate link would get like a couple hundred views, maybe 1,000 views. This one crossed like 114,000 views in less than a week, and it's still climbing. It's bringing a boatload of traffic from the post to the product on Amazon. Problem is the product ran out of stock. I'm wasting all of these clicks. It's breaking my heart. I sent the analytics to the product company, and they're like, Tony, you're doing amazing. You're the best influencer we've had on this project. I'm like, big freaking deal. I'm not making any money now because you're out of stock. But point being, the algorithms are set up to deliver exactly what Jimmy is saying. The right message to the right person at the right time. We just have to learn how to speak the language. We have to learn how to encapsulate that story in a way that consumers want to consume.
Now, part of the letter that you use, you said you put that in the ChatGPT, like to create this like script and sales letter. And it sounds like, did you mention that you prompted ChatGPT to write it in a way that's like layman's terms, like no clinical jargon, anything like that? I'm assuming, did you just mention that? Because if not, I'm assuming you did that.
Yeah. Like, absolutely. It's not a letter from a therapist. It starts out, why won't my mom or dad just call 911? And then it goes through the whole narrative story of them being stuck on the ground and refusing the call for these different reasons. And, you know, me wanting to help and not being able to, or having other commitments and trying to, you know, manage this. And yeah, there's zero, I'm not trying to sell physical therapy in any way. No clinical jargon. It's real world, you know, language.
How much does that lift cost? The one from the floor?
$599. And again, we sold out. I mean, they've sold tons of them, you know. Now I get comments on that thread that's like, oh, I would rather just call the paramedics. You should call EMS. You should do this. You should do that.
Then it's not for them.
Yeah, exactly. It's not for them. But the fact that they are willing to say that just gives my algorithm more fuel for the fire to push it out to more people. And you know, the quiet people, the one that are literally embarrassed to buy it, but will buy it, they're not commenting. But if the other people didn't comment, they probably wouldn't see it.
Right. And is it sour grapes?
I can't hear you.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Is it sour grapes? Are they saying, well, I don't want it anyway, but they do want it, but it's a cost? Like, is it like, what's the issue with it? Or is it just not right for them?
No, I think that they think they don't need it. I think that they think that it's a waste of money, just like most people think about PT services. You know, they think, oh, well, I can go on YouTube or I could do it myself. They're the vocal minority who are going to say, I'm smart, you're dumb. This guy is taking advantage of you. But the silent majority are the ones that are like, yeah, I need this. Now, I do also get comments of people like, this is amazing. This would be a gift from heaven. This, you know, so it's a good balance in the comments of pro and anti.
So years ago, I helped a patient in the city that was moving from one location to another, fairly close by, but they were moving from one building to another. And the first initial building where we were doing home physical therapy in the gym, the apartment building had a small gym wellness space. It had like the wobble board and the, you know, the AirX pad, and it had a bunch of like physical therapy related products. And then when he moved to the new place, it was like a new gym and it had like none of that stuff. And so that client had said, hey, can you know, I'll reimburse you or whatever, I'll pay you, but can you buy all those things and just like can, bring them or ship them or whatever. So we bought a bunch of stuff. I think it was like $300 worth, but I think I'm pretty sure I 2x'd it. I was like, oh, it's all this stuff and I can send it to you. And I bought it on Amazon and I put the client's name in and their address. So it shipped it there, almost like not, it's like drop shipping without drop
Yeah.
shipping kind of thing. And then when I said the dollar amount to the patient, like before I did the process, the order, I think I said like it was, 600 and whatever dollars. So like I 2x'd what it was actually because of like my time, I believe, or like my value of like
Sure.
assembling the products, picking the products out, putting his name in, putting his address in. I didn't do a lot. I didn't do a lot of heavy lifting, but I did enough where I was like, here's what we're going to use it. Your new building doesn't have it. Your old building had all these things, and your new building now will have these things in 2 or 3 days or whatever. This was a couple years ago. And the client was like, yeah, sure. And he gave me a check for 600 and whatever dollars. So my question would be, Tony, why do the small affiliate things, why not have a checkout order form on your website or some other website and sell that chairlift for $950 or $997 or whatever? And now, of course, less people will buy it than if it was $599 or whatever, how it's listed on elsewhere on Amazon or on the company's website. But why not capture an extra $400 or almost $500 per order? You capture the credit card information, they pay you directly. You can send them the videos and some other things around what, like the full kind of, Tony Maritato bundle style. And then you're making $400 per transaction instead of 10 or $20 or whatever it is.
Great question. Same reason why I don't go the direction you went with the patient care route. The same reason why I would rather the lighter lift, the lower responsibility. Now with Amazon, and a lot of people don't realize this, they have what's called a creator connections, I think it's called, program, where you can directly connect to the company. The company will pay a 10 to 20% commission instead of the typical 1 to 3% commission from Amazon. So on a $600 chair, I'm making $60 from, actually it might be, well, anyway, I'm making $60 from that plus about another 20. I average about $80. But I'm happy with $80. I'm very happy with $80, especially if I have zero liability. I'm not deeper into that relationship because I do feel like if I'm reselling it, I can absolutely make a couple $100, but then I have to deal with returns and, customer service and other things that I don't want to be part of. In the situation you explained, which I've done that too, where you're just a third party buying the stuff, getting it delivered, and then getting the payment. It's kind of a one-off thing. It's not your main business. You're not doing tons of it. In a situation like this, 120,000 people have seen that video. We're talking big numbers. I don't want to be on the hook in any capacity other than just to show, hey, this is a chair we used. If you want to go get it, go to Amazon, use this link. Hopefully I get the cookie. It's just 2 or 3 layers of less involvement for less income. And I'm okay with that. To me, that's a good value exchange, especially if I was just making $5, $10, it's not worth it. But at $60 to $80 per transaction, plus I do think this is going to lead to a deeper relationship with this particular company. They've reached out to me directly. They said, hey, we want to schedule a call. They're in China. The people I've been dealing with don't speak English real well. So they're finding a person on the team that is an English speaking person, and we're trying to coordinate times. So, I know we're getting at the end of the hour. I also shared a video in one of the groups of a fitness influencer who broke down like, look, this is where the money goes. This is how you make the money. And I look at this company, I'm like, if this is a company that turns into $3,000 a month for a predetermined number of videos or content or something like that, I'm like, man, this opens a whole new world. Because now I'm like 4 companies at $3,000 a month for a video a week. We're talking 6 figures just on that side project, and I'm making these videos anyway. So it's the business model. I would
Yeah.
still rather them make more of the profit and handle all of the responsibility. I'm happy with 10 to 15% of the cost of the product coming to me.
All right, parting shots.
Parting
before
shots?
we run out. Yep.
If you're a practice owner, if you're a physical therapist, we just laid out in the last 62 minutes or whatever, we just laid out so many opportunities, so many ideas on how to improve your practice, make more money, maybe charge less money and reach more people, different ways to improve your situation if you're burnout, if you're overwhelmed, whatever. So I don't know, give a listen to this episode again. There's a lot of ideas and a lot of things that we've done or have done and tried and tested, and the methodologies behind making decisions and kind of which route to choose. I think we should, again, explore, Tony, in the future a little bit more of like you and I on the different sides of the bell curve in terms of like dollar amounts that we charge. And I do think a lot of practice owners that are self-pay or they're like self-pay and Medicare, they're kind of like in the middle of that. And they kind of need to like pick a side. And I know you're a huge advocate of that, but yeah, party shots, just so many opportunities out there. And I think this was a really solid one to convey what are some opportunities out there that I think are overlooked.
Parting shot. Don't be a Karen. Go support Dave Kittle Show on YouTube, podcast, Jimmy, PT Pinecast, and learn Medicare billing.
Yeah, definitely don't be a Karen. Understand what business you're in. If you're not iterating and changing, you're gonna atrophy. And if you're not stealing ideas from other industries or other people, you ain't trying. Rubbin's racing. But definitely don't be a Karen.
Hi, my name is Karen, and welcome to the PT Breakfast Club podcast.